Well, good morning. It's Friday. Today we read from Acts. What chapter are we in? 15. 15, 36 through 41. And after some days, Paul said to Barnabas, "Let us return and visit the brothers in every city where we proclaim the word of the Lord, and see how they are." Now Barnabas wanted to take with them John, called Mark. But Paul thought best not to take with them one who had withdrawn from them in Pamphylia and had not gone with them to the work. And there arose a sharp disagreement, so that they separated from each other. Barnabas took Mark with him and sailed away to Cyprus. But Paul chose Silas and departed, having been commended by the brothers to the grace of the Lord. And he went through Syria and Cilicia, strengthening the churches. So, you'll remember a few chapters ago that Paul went up into Turkey in a few places and then came back to Antioch. So now Paul wants to go check those churches out and make sure they're functioning properly and make sure that they are faithful to the word that he preached and all of that sort of thing. And he doesn't well, let's do a little geography before we get into their disagreements. Pamphylia, Cilicia are regions of what we just call Turkey. In the ancient world, it was called Asia Minor or Asia, and those regions were recognized as separate places, that you would go. And so Paul remembers that John Mark did not go with them into all the regions where they went to Lystra and Derbe and all those places, and he doesn't want to take Mark with them if he wasn't there to begin with, and Barnabas does, and so a sharp disagreement arises. And I think it's interesting that they've had disagreements before. He was in Jerusalem fighting for the Gentiles just a few verses ago, which was probably some months before this, and he's disagreed with people along the way, but this one is different. This one they separate, and I don't think the book of Acts ever shows them getting back together. I'm sure that they remained colleagues and probably friends in a sort of way, but they parted ways, and we don't know how much communication they had after that. Excuse me. It's not that Paul is so jealous that his message is the only way, but he's suspicious of this Mark. Well, John Mark goes on. He gets to Rome. He gets to Rome after Peter is in Rome, and Peter apparently goes to Rome at some point and becomes more or less the recognized leader of the Christian churches in Rome, to the point where the Roman Catholic Church says, well, he was the first bishop, and so the first pope, and so, the Pope's chair is called the seat of St. Peter and stuff like that. Whatever. But Mark gets there and becomes Peter's secretary, his scribe, as it were. And the Gospel of Mark, which he wrote, is described very early on as Peter's memories set down by Mark, though not in order. Now, you can take that to mean whatever you want. I think it means that Peter told him stories and he wrote them down, and he kind of constructed the gospel in a way that sort of made some sense from all the stories. The Gospels are all we have, so for what it's worth, but that's what it says in the ancient record. And so Mark turns out to be fairly important later on. And Mark's gospel is not significantly different from anything Paul taught either. So the two of them could have been friends if they'd have had a chance to sit down and have a coffee and talk, but they weren't, and so there you go. So Barnabas sails away to Cyprus, which is an island, and Paul and Silas go a different route, and they go through Syria, which is sort of where Syria still is, and Cilicia, which is part of Turkey, and so they go on a different route, strengthening the churches. And so this is now Paul's second missionary journey that we are starting, and tomorrow we'll see him meet a man named Timothy. So have a great day. It's a beautiful day, and just rejoice in the Lord and have peace. See you tomorrow.